Are we ready for the proof, guys? Another exclusive from Byline Times, part of the seventh part of their 3-year investigation into Dan Wootton. Proof behind it they have. Let's read into it, guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, guys, wherever you are in the world, and this is REGANELITE here with another video. God, this story is not going away, guys, and yes, I will be putting this out. Dan Wootton and Martin Branning, the proof. In the 7th part of its 3-year special investigation, Byline Times can reveal the internet data leaks that tied the TV centre to the online alias he did not deny being connected to. At no point has he actually denied these as well. It's important to stress. GB News star Dan Wootton twice used an identical password as the catfishing for personas Martin Branning and Marina Joseph to subscribe to a movie sharing website Byline Times can reveal. The presenter used the password along with the emails for his private web domain danwootton.com and also his official News of the World accounts. They were leaked and published on a publicly available data breach directly in October 2018. Alongside Wootton's 2 email addresses revealed in a dump of login details of 7,403,280 users of the defunded film Index service, mydvd.overhere.com, where the email address Byline Times revealed Branning and Joseph had used to trick and bribe scores of men into sharing compromising sexual material over at least a 10-year period. All 4 of the accounts were used in the same unusual 8-character password to protect Wootton's privacy. This newspaper is not publishing the passwords, well, for obvious reasons, which this news representatives today appeared to confirm it was indeed used by the journalists. Further analysis of the databases, which are openly available online, shows Wootton also used the same passwords for his linking and MySpace profiles alongside music and fitness app sites between October 2016 and October 2018. Byline Times commissioned analysis of the data by an admitted PhD specialist in mathematical predictions and modelling. The expert says the chances of Wootton's password randomly duplicating those of Branning and Joseph was 0. He explained, assuming that a user can choose any 8-letter password using the 26 lower, 26 uppercase, and 0.9, and then approximately 1.6 trillion passwords that could be formed. If each of the 700,000 accounts is expected to have a unique password, then the probability that 3 are the same would be 1,700,000, 3 times approximately 3.8, or basically 0. I think, yeah, we could understand that, guys. In a special 3-year investigation into the personal and professional conduct of the 40-year-old Wootton, this newspaper has uncovered extensive evidence that he targeted journalists, colleagues, friends and members of the public with elaborate ruse to obtain private sexual explicit imagery. Byline Times has revealed how Wootton, whose MailOnline column has been paused while an independent investigation is conducted by DMD Media following this newspaper's reports, rented the Facebook accounts of adult stars so he could catfish unsuspected victims into the subject of covert sex videos and charge it to his employers, and how Murdoch's News UK paid off 6 employees of the Sun to say who Wootton forced them out of their jobs. This newspaper has exposed Wootton as Marina Joseph, a honey trap who for years harassed men with nude pictures. And we have unmasked him as Martin Branning, a faceless character who targeted men, some heterosexual and married, with bribes up to £30,000 for compromising images. One gay man carefully drawn in by Branning, and even became the objective of the 10-year blackmail campaign that saw him forced to make secret sex films of his own partner, leaving him on the brink of suicide over his actions. Though Wootton has said he's denied any allegations of criminality, his representatives have not denied that he is or is connected to the identities of Branning and Joseph. So today, as part of the 7th part of our investigation, this newspaper is taking a deep dive into Wootton's online presence and reporting on its findings. All of Byline Times evidence have been lawfully and ethically uncovered using open sources and began with an examination of the email address martinbranning@live.co.uk and marinajoseph@live.co.uk. The audit trail. First, Byline Times engaged with a cybersecurity professional to examine the two anonymous webmail addresses, with this newspaper's independently established, which was set up in between May 2007, 3 months after Wootton's first working for Murdoch, June 2008 in the case of Branning, and February 2009 in the case of Joseph. By running the two addresses through a specialist anti-cyber crime software, we discovered that both had been revealed in a leak from the mydvd.overthere.com site in October 2018. This data breach exposed the identical passwords attached to both. The cyber expert who ensures online security from a number of high-profile figures said, "The passwords were very specific, so when I reverse searched the systems for breaches that contained that password within that search, there were several of particular interest. At least 5 further webmail addresses contained the same Wootton or a close variant that turned up to reverse such the identical password." However, to preserve the integrity of the research, Byline Times excluded the 5 from its statistical analysis and instead focused entirely on the October 2018 MyDVD leak with its use of official professional addresses for Wootton, the most recent of which was published online in a data breach in April this year. Among a smaller dataset of just over 743 found compromises user detail. By examining the mydvd.overhere.com site preserved by the snapshots of the web crawling Internet Archive's Wayback Machine, Byline Times discovered the site used to be a valuation of indexing tool for the promotion of personal DVD collections. MyDVD was also an authoring software format used by the video evidence who wanted to make professional-looking homemade films on DVDs in high resolutions, which added menu features and music. Byline Times investigators also looked for other connections between Maria Joseph and Martin Branning in order to establish their interactivity online. That yielded a connection between the two, revealed an open source Spoko.com site, linking them to further Signal LinkedIn account. This newspaper has spoken to the owner of LinkedIn account, who says they have no knowledge of either Martin Branning or Maria Joseph, although they knew of Wootton from his television and newspaper roles. The digital research into the links between Wootton, Branning and Joseph supports a series of direct human testimonies gathered by this newspaper. They include the account of Wootton's former partner Alex Truby, who said in 2012 he discovered a folder containing chat records of Branning along with a covert sex video in Wootton's flat. Alongside Mr. Truby's, Byline Times has spoken to multiple sources who have provided solid connections between Wootton and Branning. We have first heard of firsthand how Wootton told a friend of a moment of crisis of his activities, and Branning and feared on a pile of victims he be exposed. In another case, this newspaper heard how Wootton emerged from the shadows of the Branning persona, which he had been using to control a man into making sex films with strangers for him, to directly proportionately make him unlawfully covert recordings. Byline Times gathered statements from victims of Maria Joseph who ethical critical facts from the Catfish. When one Joseph directly of being Wootton, the Facebook account presenting of hers immediately shut down. Another victim realised that Joseph's Facebook profile had the geolocation in New Zealand, Wootton's native country which he visits regularly. When the victim quizzed Joseph about it, they forced an administration that the person messaging was in fact a man who continued to sexually harass them, offering them escorts work if he was just kept quiet. Joseph added in the email of June 8, 2013, "Okay, I'll admit it, I'm actually a guy. Would you ever get a blowjob from a guy for good money if you knew it would be completely discreet?" The victim told this newspaper, "I had a connection to Dan through work. There was no other reason for Maria Joseph to target me. It was really dark behaviour." 7 days ago, Byline Times presented the raw data in this article to the Metropolitan Police as part of an update to the 28-page dossier on our investigation, which we first made available to detectives on June 20th, 2023, before publishing the first article in the series on July 17th. Byline Times has asked the new legal representatives for Dan Wootton detailed questions about the password breaches. In response, they did not deny the connections between the 4 accounts and appeared to confirm that Wootton used the passwords for the accounts mentioned in this article. We will update this article and hear more from Wootton and his representatives. Dan Evans and Tom Lover are former colleagues of Dan from the News of the World. None of the sources in this investigation have been paid for their testimonial or analytical services. Just to point out. Guys, how much more needs to be said? This is a scandal that is rocking the British media. This man, if all this is true, and it looks absolute certainty that it's true, he needs to go. He has to go. He's got to go. It's despicable. People like that don't belong anywhere near power. They don't belong on our TVs. They don't belong on our radios. They don't belong anywhere near media or journalism. It appears that this man, when caught, seems to cry out and say, "I'm so sorry," blah 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 blah, but doesn't actually mean it, and gets joy out of the pleasure of doing this. And it's despicable, and this man needs to be held to account. The Metropolitan Police cannot ignore this, even if they got pressure from politics and governments and that. They can't ignore this. The evidence is quite overwhelming at this point, I think it's fair to say. My position has changed based on this one. Looking back on everything that we've read so far, not just this one, but the live stream where I covered pretty much the majority of them, is there any more to add? Do they have more to add to this from Byline Times? I guess we'll have to wait and see. But they did say they will update this as they go. So I will provide all the links in the descriptions to all the articles, the videos that I've covered. I will provide links to them if you want to watch them as well as the live stream that we covered, guys. As it looks as if it has been all exposed, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like, share and subscribe as always. If you can, please support Byline Times. Subscribe to their newsletter in any way, shape or form. Follow them on Twitter at Byline Times. Follow all their journalists as well, and their fantastic work that they do, guys, if you can, wherever possible. Support Byline Times and the work they do, because we need more independent medias like them in the world, guys. Thank you for watching. Like, share and subscribe as always, and I will catch you all very, very soon.